Husqvarna has given its four-stroke motocross range a significant overhaul for 2023. There's a fresh look, new performance and easier maintenance to match as well. We're at the iconic Conondale motocross circuit in southeast Queensland and we've got the 250, 350 and 450 at our disposal. Let's take a closer look.
Husqvarna hasn't held back on upgrades to its motocross range, mirroring changes to sister brand KTM for 2023. The four-stroke models tested here have each had individual engine upgrades, range-wide chassis revisions, the fitment of a quick shifter on the gearbox, and new colourways. The changes have coincided with price increases across the board, with an $1,100 difference between the entry FC250 and the flagship FC450. While the Husqvarna range does align closely with KTM's motocross lineup, officials insist there is genuine differentiation, including a 20mm lower seat height that is said to result in greater stability. Across all four-stroke capacities, the engine is tilted 2 degrees backwards and the sprocket is repositioned 3mm lower in order to centralise the rotating mass. There are also added surface markers, including torque setting markings for the oil and screen on the crankcases and new engine covers with a more reliable coating.
There are some significant changes for MY23, so much so that Husqvarna claims there's 7 carryover parts from the predecessor. If you look closely, yes, the engine changes and some of the evolutionary changes do reflect what's happened over at KTM, and they make no secret of that. But that's kind of, at its core, the reason that they can do it. They can scale the production across KTM, across Husqvarna, across GasGas, and they can really make meaningful changes every 2 or 3 years, and that's certainly what they've done here. With all that said though, the Husky does have enough sort of point of difference from the KTM range, at least at face value. Yes, aesthetically, they're really nice Scandinavian colorways, they have the really nice parts as standard, they're positioned sort of at that premium point of the market, but they have a lot of equipment to justify that. There's also more commonality between each different grade as well, so 250, 350 and 450 now have the same gearbox ratios. The 350 and 450 have the same engine mounting points, and when you look back and look at the whole range, it's good because again, they've got that scale, they can make meaningful change and share it across more models. So first bike I jumped on today was the 250, and I'm really glad I did because it's sort of like this weird perception out there about 250s. They're not powerful enough, they're not up to the demands of what a decent rider really wants. But honestly, jumping on one, especially having not ridden for a few months, so easy to turn and stop. The inherent balance of the bike is really user-friendly and you kind of surprise yourself. You know, you can come in late to a corner, commit to a really deep rut, and it's just so forgiving and so user-friendly. So it was a really nice way to start the day. The other instant thing that I noticed jumping on all 3 of these bikes is just the quality of like the brakes and the clutch. Coming off a Japanese bike onto the European stuff, it's always one of the real telling things, and it certainly came to fruition today with the Husky range. 350, I reckon it's sort of to be like the Goldilocks pick in the KTM, Husky and GasGas ranges, and there's good reason for that because it does have a little bit more bottom end. There's a little bit longer legs in each gear as well. Obviously it doesn't rev as high, but there's a little bit more punch, but you still get that ease of use that also features on the 250. Then onto the 450. Wow, it's for someone that hasn't ridden for a while, it certainly doesn't lack anything in power. It's not as though it's unmanageable or anything else. KTM have obviously got traction controls, the 2-stage power mapping, so you are able to kind of make the power delivery more linear, but yeah, but that thing just pulls. It is incredible. You can actually ride it a gear higher on a circuit like we're on today, but just incredible what it's capable of. I guess the downside is that through the air, through changes in direction, things like that, it's obviously not as easy to throw around as the 250 and 350.
The bottom line here is that Husqvarna's lineup covers a broad spectrum of abilities, with each model boasting excellent front-end purchase, confidence-inspiring balance, and clever electronics. We found the WP Air Fork-On test lacked the initial compliance and linearity through the stroke compared with conventional coil-sprung options from Showa and KYB. But we must say that's with bone stock suspension with no touches out of the box, just as you'd purchase from the showroom. Everywhere else, the Husqvarna range is impressive, even if a little pricey.
that's just a bit of a taste test of the new Husqvarna MY23 range. It's been really enjoyable coming out to Conondale today. These bikes are terrific. They do feel stable. We'd have to really back-to-back them against the KTM range to see just how different they are fundamentally. But all in all, the improvements they have made for 23 certainly are excellent.